Heading to Ava's school, dropping her off this morning. We stopped at a little coffee house on the way to school in Peninsula. Peninsula Coffee House, very good. I'm a tea guy at heart. I know I drink lattes, and you see me do that, but I'm a tea guy. I always have been, and used to love London Fogs. I didn't love the ones that Starbucks had, so I just stopped ordering them. This one, top shelf.
Does it have chai in it?
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, it does. Anyway, I just had somebody message me and say, Anthony, geez, would you be wearing the glasses today when you train Caveman Pioneer? I'm really sorry to Dave and everybody else. I had the glasses on yesterday, and I trained them both yesterday. Now, obviously, Landlubber has to qualify, which he needs. He needs a qualifier. And Caveman Pioneer does not. I trained them both yesterday in 158 and 3. Caveman Pioneer will be entered into go at Northfield Park on Wednesday. We'll get a race in him, and then we'll decide, does he need a bigger track? He very well may. It's a little rickety in the corners, but I think that's just something he's going to have to work his way through. And I don't think he's ready to go mile in 54 at the Meadows or 54 at Scioto. So Northfield Park is the place for him to be next Wednesday. Landlubber will qualify next week, and he is ready to go also. The great thing about Landlubber, barely touching his knee at all. The shoeing changes we made over here and the surface over here fits him well, and he will be qualifying next week. But the most impressive training mile of yesterday was Perfect Instead. I trained her mile in 159, last half in 57 and 4, 58 seconds. She's ready to go. I'll post those are two videos because Perfect Instead was by herself. I trained Gypsy Boy also in 2.5, last half in 1.1. He was actually pretty good. And the two horses trained together, Caveman and Landlubber. Now, Landlubber was behind me the whole way, and I beat him maybe 3 lengths, but he trained very good also. As I said, most importantly, not into that knee, not getting worked up about it. What would stop somebody from going through the parking lot here and then around?
There's a thing, like, you can't go from this parking lot to there, I don't think.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that makes sense, too. Really doesn't matter. This is not slow.
I don't understand why they did it, though.
They just don't want the congestion. Somebody has looked at the traffic flow at this school and said, hey, this is a much better idea. I guarantee you, if you ask one of your teachers, somebody has either consulted them or told them, do it this way, it's much smarter, because that way there's just too much congestion. And they're right. So, very happy with the 3 horses yesterday. I spent my entire evening. Now, I thought I was going to spend the whole night watching the Blue Jays play, but it turned into be an absolute circus yesterday. They got blown out. I stopped watching after about the second or third inning, and it gave me ample time to finish my actual homework, which was, do I go here? I think I do, right? Yeah. Ample time to finish off the Ohio Select sale catalog. There's been a lot of discussion between a lot of our clients and myself with respect to these upcoming sales, and most notably and not shockingly, the sale that is coming up. Am I going the right way? Yeah, I am. On the 18th.
You got me off at the Rotunda.
Can we just say the front?
It's called the Rotunda.
Yeah, I don't care.
Even Mom knows that.
Okay, I understand what Rotunda is. It's like saying, could you leave it in the foyer? Yeah, it's the foyer, yeah, but it's also the front.
It's also the Rotunda.
Okay, I'm going to drop you off at the front of the school. You can call it whatever you like.
I will.
Okay, out
So
you go.
let's call it
Chai Rotunda. Take your drink, whatever you got. Anyway, so I was a little, this year in particular, this year we are going to also implement again, looking at the AI charts that Mr. Hayes in Australia has provided to us. It's pretty cool. Now, obviously, totally different, and a lot of the information is fed in by him, but he knows what he's looking at. So it's always interesting to look at last year, not too far off, and a couple of horses he picked were nice horses now. That can be said about anybody. And the thing about picking horses, and this is actually, oh, that sun is bright. This is actually the most important thing we talk about generally is, I don't claim to be some sort of master at picking out horses. In fact, if you look at A lot of the horses we picked out, they didn't turn out. Some did, plenty didn't. That's just racing. Because you think about it, you go and you buy the horse at the sale, you trailer it all the way back to the farm. So from that point, it has to have a good trailer ride. It has to be broken well and not get injured. It has to stay healthy and sound all year long. It has to have a good attitude. It has to have good work ethic. It has to have ability. Then trains down. It has to have a good training session from virtually January through to June when we start the horse. And then after that, it just has to stay sound and healthy all summer long. Draw good, get driven good, and race against horses it can beat. If all that happens, then you picked out a great horse. A lot of variables. And when it comes to picking the horses out, AI, Anthony, Amy, you, John, Randy, Rob, Steve, doesn't matter, anybody. But there should be horses that we agree upon, right? There should be a collaboration between everybody. So a lot of the people I've come to know over the last decade, whether it be the people at the sale, Steve usually goes to the sale, so does Rob, so does Randy, John's been to a number of the sales, Larry is going to come to the sale this year also, a number of people that are interjecting, whatever knowledge they have from afar, whatever country, hemisphere, or state, province they might be in. It is usually a collaboration, and that's going to continue this year. We're going to buy all the horses that we want. And of course, it is all going to have to revolve around value, common sense. And I think those are the key foundation points of how the sales are going to work this year for sure. They did last year and the year before somewhat also. But the idea, I always feel embarrassed. Somebody said, oh my God, what an amazing pick you made on that horse and the way you developed that horse. We just did our job, right? And we did our job the same for the ones that didn't work out as for the ones that did work out. We put the work into all of them. You have to sprinkle on a heaping of luck and then hope that other people don't have as much luck as you. And then you have a good horse. And we've been very fortunate this year. Somebody said, well, you got 3 or 4 pretty good ones. That's hard to do. You buy 40 babies and bring them some out of the field. Let's say you start with 50. And in that 50, you get to find an Atomics, a Lou Armstrong, and along the way, be blessed with a Jailbird Jog and a Perfect Thought. I know I'm missing 3 or 4 horses there. The middle of the order, that's the tricky one. The decent horses, right? And I felt we struggled a little bit with that this year. Horses that I thought would be, quality horses in the middle. Now, I guess that's not true. In Ohio, we have the trotting filly, right? Dublin's Ferrani, pretty nice filly. A couple of colts look good. The filly in Ontario, the pacing filly. That's the other thing. Making Green landed here yesterday. He's going to get shod today, and I'm going to train him tomorrow. And hopefully, we can get to the bottom of whatever the hell is going on with him and square him away quickly. Now, the only problem in all of this is that we have a ton of horses to qualify next week, and I don't think I can be here to qualify them. The only way I can be here next Wednesday to qualify is if I don't go to Kentucky. Now, as I said, Travel Blog, Eric and I had a long conversation last night and today. I think we were in lockstep the entire way. He made a very good case on both sides to race and not race. And I already knew both sides. But I think the ultimate decision was the right one. We're not going to race him on Wednesday. We know what's going to happen if we race this horse with a high GGT. I'm not so much worried about his elevated AST. That will come down, trickle down. I don't think it'd play a role at all, in fact. But I can almost guarantee you that GGT at 71 would. So him and Dr. Roberts have worked out a plan of attack to aggressively treat him. We'll wait a week, pull that GGT and see if the numbers are trending in the right direction. If they're not, we can bring him back to Ohio, or I can just kick him out in the field. I talk about missing emails. I missed an email from Larry on the 18th. He sent it back to me last night. Very informative. Just barely at the very high end of what I can absorb and understand. It was the Cole's notes on a number of reports he'd read regarding GGT issues, high liver counts. The common denominator was exercise. And I think from reading those and looking at the way the horses have jumped in Kentucky, as opposed... Now, Eric made a good point, when the colt landed in Kentucky and then 2 days later we drew his blood, or 3 days later, and his GGT was high. It would be unfair for me to say that horse's GGT jumped in Kentucky. But when I think about it, the biggest issues with these GGTs have come in the summer. We get the odd one that'll jump in the winter, but not crazy high usually. The very rare one maybe. But for the most part, these are summer issues. And it seems like heat might be a component. Training hard in the heat. I'm not sure of anything. And of one thing, I will say this, and Larry was quick to point it out also, of all the reports and everything written, there's no indication that anybody actually knows what causes it. And these are medical professionals. This isn't Tom, Dick, and Harry sitting at a bar talking about high liver counts. No, these are medical professionals. And they don't know either. Could be this, could be that. It's like asking somebody, why'd your horse tie up? Oh, I don't know. Why'd it rain last night when it wasn't supposed to? I can tell you possibly why. I guess that's not even fair, because actually a meteorologist should be able to tell you afterwards, even if they didn't know before. But nobody really knows. It could be, some old horsemen say, oh, it's the hay, it's a protein, it's in first cut hay, they'll tie up every time. No. Sometimes they will, yes. Feed, changing their feed. Oh, it's the mill, it's the way they make the feed in the mill. Okay, good. No, I don't buy that either. I think a lot of it is the fact that we remove the fact from the equation that these are very individual animals, right? Maybe something's bothering me. You hear me talk about it all the time. When the horses are in heat, they'll tie up. Well, that's obvious to horse people, but maybe not to everybody. Maybe you didn't know your horse was in heat. Just mild signs of being in heat. You didn't catch it. You missed it. Doesn't mean that it was the reason the horse tied up, but it does play a major role. Anyway, these are great conversations to have. I like the fact that Larry dumbs it down for me a little bit. I know the quotes and the things that he's saying in the report are very medical, but he finds a way to kind of dumb it down so I can look at it and understand what they're saying. I'd rather the quotes from people at the end of the papers than the medical stuff in the middle of it. But I do understand what he's saying. So I appreciate that. I am disappointed, though, that the overall message is still, I don't know. Because that means this trend won't stop. There are different approaches to GGT that we've never tried, that were in those notes also. And we are going to try a couple of those. And this is all trial and error, right? And it is worth noting, if we try this and it works good on Travel Block, it doesn't mean that it's going to work good on Head to Know. Might be two different things causing it. All we can do is cover our bases best we can, I guess is what I'm saying. So we are going to try a few things on the horses and monitor them and see if we can get these GGTs driven down. But the fact of the matter is, it's much like getting in an accident. I can tell you how it happened. I can tell you why it happened. I can tell you where it happened. But I can't fix it. It happened. The GGTs are high, and we're going to do our best to get them down. It's just something we're going to have to deal with right now. Now, moving forward, talked about the horses training yesterday. Very happy. Talked about the sale. Thanks, everybody, so much. And I am trying to figure out a way. I'm an email from Joel. Again, I love hearing from Joel also. He said, well, last year you sent a survey out asking people what they were looking for and, kind of a price point. And that's something we want to do again. But at the same token, it doesn't help, right? Because what I'm trying to do is build consensus. Well, here's the reality. We have enough people behind the scenes where we can get the horses we want. We're going to try it this way at the Ohio sale and allow people to buy into them. Maybe the way that the stable started. Now, in a perfect world, that would be fine. If the horses as is were kind of funded and we had hundreds of clients behind the scenes to buy these shares, wouldn't be a problem. I just never had the confidence to pick the phone up and call somebody or a group of people in this format, email them, video email them, or just send them a note and say, okay, these are the horses we're going to look at. We're going to price them. We're going to go to the sale and look at them. We're all going to meet for supper afterwards. We're going to talk about all the horses we want, what we think they're worth. And in that list will be the same formula we've always gone to with respect to the sales, but there'll be a little more analytical approach to it. We do have some, I think it's cool, the AI stuff. I think it's really cool. Anytime you can get a glimpse into things that you miss or you may have missed or you might miss, it's always important. Having the input, and I can tell you the input from this group of people of 5, 6, 7, 8 people, very similar. We all kind of walk in lockstep. But I do want to hear from you. So please send me your emails. Hey, Anthony, what do you think about this horse? Perfect example. What do you think of Branded by Lindy? What do you think of Luz Pearlman? There's going to be people out there saying, I don't buy first crop horses. Okay, then you don't have to. But I can tell you one thing. After watching the videos of the Luz Pearlmans, probably going to end up with 1 or 2 of them, if we're lucky. I don't want any old sires. I have a great conversation every single year with one of our clients. I love talking to him. I only want to buy the best sires. I tried to explain to him that my position, again, is that it's the maternal side, the mares that make the most sense. And his argument was fair. He said, well, if it's the mares, then why is it the same sires in every jurisdiction? That's a great point. Well, I can tell you my take on that also is the best mares usually go to the best sires. You're not going to see a high-end mare be sent to a poor sire. What you will see sometimes, though, is a mare that's had great luck with Sweet Lou, or in this case, Ohio, say, Uncle Peter. Go back to Uncle Peter. A perfect example is the It's Academic. I think that's Uncle Peter, right? I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But one of those mares went back to a sire that maybe has slid down the list a little bit. They say, well, I'm not interested in that sire. That's fair, but I'm interested in that family. Again, the Ready for Monies, the In Range. He said 3 best sires. You're right. They're going to get most of the money. And every year, Uncle Peter's going to get less. And every year, What the Hill's going to get less. And Creatine and so on and so forth till you're left with some. But there's always new sires coming up, right? And we've always done some of our very best work in the first crop sire category. So although you may not trust first crop sires, we do a lot of work in that space. Now, I don't know a lot about Luz Pearlman. I watched him race. Nice Burke horse. But I also am going to look at the horse flash in front of me, the videos, the horses when we go to the sale on Thursday to look at them for the sale on Friday. I can tell you one thing. Some of these Luz Pearlmans look very, very good. And I'm certainly not discrediting any of the other sires out there. They just stuck out to me because I hadn't seen any. And then to see some of the videos, I'm like, oh my God, I looked at Amy and she looked at me. I'm like, Jesus, good looking video on these horses. And you're going to see, obviously, we're going to do our best, but this is where our paths will change a little bit. I don't want to buy an expensive in-range just to say, well, I have to have an in-range to win the races. No, and the argument is simple. There's a lot of really bad in-ranges also. You may need an in-range, but you need the in-range or a group of those in-ranges because there's some real bad ones also, as there is in every jurisdiction. So make sure we're trying to do our best to select the right horses. It's easier said than done sometimes. So in many of the cases, Ross and I will be also in lockstep. You know, you're buying horses in Pennsylvania. You can't just say, well, I'm not buying a Captain Treacherous. Well, maybe that's changed now, but in previous years, right? It's like saying, I'm going to buy a New Jersey, but I don't want any Muscle Hills. Okay, cool. For 20 years, you know, you had to have one, but you don't want one, that's cool. Of course, they're the dominant sire, so you have to pay attention. But we're after horse flesh, not just a pedigree page, right? And that's kind of where it changes. From an analytical standpoint, you look at it and say, well, these are the ones you want. Okay, you're looking at a name, but there's a lot of horses under that name. I'm looking for an athletic, good-looking, well-built horse with really good to very decent pedigree that looks like it could be even more than what we're looking for. That's what we've always been after, and that's what we're going to continue to be after this year. So rest assured, there are discussions behind the scenes being taken place right now about the sales, and I think Ohio will be a trial run for Ohio, for Lexington, for Harrisburg. The London sale also is on our books, of course. One of our clients messaged me and said, Anthony, there is a lot of very deep pedigree in the Indiana sale, the Midwest sale. I get it. I completely understand where you're coming from. I just don't know if we're ready to get back into that sphere, back into that space just yet. There's a lot of sink or swim in every jurisdiction, and that seems to be one of the more prominent ones, where you either have a really good horse or where am I going to race this horse? That's how the feeling I get anyway. Maybe that's unfair to Indiana. It very well could be, I suppose. So, the horses trained yesterday. We have a ton. I don't know if they'll have the list. Jason has the list. We have a ton of horses to train in the race bike today, tomorrow. Get these horses ready to go, tightened up for next week and the week after, and qualifying the fall. You know, I mentioned the fall. Yeah. My apologies.
Thank you.
No problem, sir. Every so often they go through a blitz where you have to have the card on you, even though you know I'm a driver and you know I'm here and I have a stable. In fairness, that guy, I'm not so sure he doesn't have Alzheimer's anyway, so it's not his fault. That's not nice. Anyway, so lots of horses going forward, getting ready to go. I've talked many, many times about the fall. Obviously, the yearling sales are vitally important to us. I'm focusing on them now. I'm focusing on racing. We're racing tonight at the Meadows. I'm excited about Solidarity. We're racing tomorrow. JK Mag is in a good spot. If he can handle the shipping all the way down and be racing at midnight in another place, that would be fine. Then Sunday, James is not in town for Lexington, so I'm going to drive Jailbird Jog. She trained very good this week, I'm told, by Eric, but we are going to pull the shoes on her. How is she going to race barefoot? Absolutely no idea. We're all going to find out together on Sunday evening. Monday, we have the fair. Then I have to come back here for Monday night, the Neptune. Tuesday is the fair. Might have to go to Scioto after the fair for Tuesday. Wednesday, they're drawing today. Meadows. Scioto. What else? Kentucky. So I have to figure out where I'm going there. There's just a lot going on right now, but every waking minute I have moving forward, I guess not every waking minute, but a lot of them, I'm going to try my hardest to focus on the sales coming up. I am done Ohio. I'd be happy to have a dialogue, a discussion with you about Ohio, what your thoughts are. Just 1 second. Is that Winter Soldier? Yeah. How's he? Oh, okay. He sweated up. So those dialogues will begin a little more aggressively now over the next 2 weeks as we focus on there. I guess it's not lost to me also. We have the sale on Monday, right? There's 70-some horses, 78 or 79 horses selling on the preferred sale. We have Gold Doubloons, which is the Eyes of 10 Captain Corey selling. And we have Muscle Chrome's foal selling also. Muscle Tone. That horse is selling. And we have a couple we're looking at. I'm going to be completely honest. That I kind of thought were interesting. These would be more the flyer types. You're not talking about expensive horses, but horses that I thought, hey, we're selling too. Maybe we'll bring a couple back in. We'll see. Anyway, that's where we're at right now. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's already 70 degrees here in northeastern Ohio. We have a ton of horses to go on the race bike. I'm going to go in and have a little powwow with both Jasons right now, see where we're at, what we're doing, who's going, when they're going, and then I will get these videos out to you guys. They're on my phone, and I'll report back on how everybody did today. Anyway, take care. I hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend. It's, as I said, a beautiful day. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend. Hopefully, it's a good weekend at the track. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.